and the public's version of my fairy tale kind of went into crisis.
You ever wonder how someone can be at the top of the world and then just vanish? Ali MacGraw had everything. The kind of beauty that turned heads, the kind of talent that drew applause, and a career that was only going up. After Love Story, she wasn't just a star. She was the star. Magazine covers, critical acclaim, a powerful husband backing her every move. But then she walked away from all of it. Not because she was tired of the fame, not because Hollywood shut her out, but because she fell in love with someone who changed everything. Enter Steve McQueen, Hollywood's king of cool. He didn't just walk into her life, he blew into it like a storm. One minute she was a happily married actress reading a script. The next she was staring across the room at a man who radiated danger, charisma, and something much deeper, woundedness. The kind of man who doesn't ask for attention, he pulls it in like gravity. I knew I was going to get into trouble the second I saw him. Ali later confessed. And she was right. They met on the set of The Getaway. What started as on-screen chemistry turned into a full-blown affair that ripped through her life like wildfire. She left her husband, Robert Evans, a studio executive who had built her career, and threw herself into something that felt thrilling, raw, and terrifying. This wasn't some tabloid fling. It was obsession. And it wasn't long before they were married. To the world, they looked like the perfect opposites. He was the rugged, rebellious anti-hero. She, the graceful, introspective beauty. But behind the closed doors of their Malibu home, things weren't so poetic. At first it was magical. They escaped the Hollywood madness. Walks on the beach, simple dinners, the kind of quiet, private life most celebrities only dream about. But peace came with a price. Steve McQueen didn't just want privacy, he wanted control. He hated the spotlight. He didn't want her working. He wanted simplicity. And by that, he meant obedience. I became the cook, the maid, the quiet woman, Ali later said. This was the woman who had once captivated the entire world, now shrinking herself to fit someone else's idea of love. She stopped acting. She stopped being seen. Her entire identity became wrapped in keeping Steve McQueen happy. And the cracks began to show. McQueen was carrying a lot. Abandoned by his father, shuffled through homes, sent to reform school. He had never known safety. And that kind of childhood leaves marks. It turns a man into a fighter, but also into someone afraid of closeness. He was unpredictable, suspicious, deeply insecure. His need for dominance wasn't just about ego, it was about fear. And Ali? She got caught in the crossfire. She started molding herself to his moods, making herself smaller, careful with her words, careful with her looks, careful not to trigger the jealousy that lived just under the surface of Steve's cool exterior. You never knew who you were waking up to, she once said. And yet, she stayed. Because deep down, she believed that if she just gave enough, changed enough, loved enough, maybe it would work. But it didn't. The Malibu dream turned into a quiet nightmare. The isolation wasn't peaceful anymore. It was lonely. Steve drank. Ali started drinking too. Their beach house became a pressure cooker. Fights, silence, tension that hung in the air like smoke. She had walked away from Hollywood thinking she was chasing something real. But what she found was a version of herself she didn't recognize. And the hardest part? She chose it. By the late 70s, their marriage was unraveling. Infidelity on both sides, emotional whiplash, and a woman who had once lit up every room now barely spoke above a whisper. In 1977, they separated. 3 years later, Steve McQueen died from a rare and aggressive cancer. He was just 50. And Ali? She was left with a mess of memories, heartbreak, and a realization that hit harder than any breakup. She had disappeared. I made myself vanish in that relationship, she said. She didn't mean physically. She meant emotionally, spiritually, completely. She had spent years becoming what he wanted, and in the process, forgot who she was. After his death, the pain didn't go away. It got worse. She spiraled into depression. She drank more. And eventually, she hit rock bottom. In 1985, she checked herself into the Betty Ford Center, not just for alcohol, but for something deeper. She was addicted to love, to people-pleasing, to disappearing for others. In therapy, the picture got clearer. Her need to be loved? It didn't start with Steve. It started long before, in childhood, growing up with an alcoholic father and a home where she had to keep the peace to survive. She learned early that love meant sacrifice, that being liked meant not being difficult. And Steve McQueen, charming, volatile, broken, fit that mold to perfection. But recovery gave her something she hadn't felt in years: herself. She didn't run back to Hollywood. She didn't chase roles or try to resurrect a career that had been sacrificed. Instead, she moved to Tusauk, New Mexico, a quiet desert town where no one cared about fame. There, she found peace. She painted, gardened, spent time with animals, and slowly, gently, she came back to life. By 2024, she said, "I finally feel comfortable in my own skin. No makeup, no scripts, no playing the perfect woman. Just Ali, the real Ali." And when she talks about Steve now, it's not with bitterness. It's with love, but also honesty. "He'll always be a part of me," she says. But he doesn't define her anymore. That relationship may have taken years of her life, but it also taught her what not to accept, what not to become. And that is what makes her story so powerful. This isn't just about a Hollywood romance gone wrong. It's about how easily we can lose ourselves, in love, in validation, in someone else's shadow. And more importantly, how we can find our way back. It takes time. It takes honesty. It takes the courage to sit with everything you gave away and ask, why? Ali MacGraw did that. She didn't get her old life back, but she got something even better. The chance to finally live on her own terms. So if you ever feel like you've lost yourself, remember her story, because disappearing isn't always sudden. Sometimes it's a slow fading, but reappearing, that can be your loudest act yet. If this story moved you, go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and let us know in the comments. What part of Ali's journey hit home for you? And stick around. There's another incredible Hollywood story waiting in the next video. You won't want to miss it.